Alrighty, hello, you guys. Welcome back to the channel. Happy Anything Can Happen Wednesday. And as you guys know, anything is surely happening. As you guys can see from the title of this video, we're going to be diving into the, I would say, most interesting, most fascinating congressional hearing that we've seen in a very long time. The House hearing of MKUltra. Now, before we begin, I just want you guys to know we're not going to be breaking down everything in its entirety. We're going to be reacting to a few clips and giving some general thoughts on what I think the average person can do and can take away from this. So we are going to be getting into all the quote-unquote conspiracy theories that may not be conspiracy theories anymore after this congressional hearing. And we're going to be doing our best to give you guys a full breakdown, or at least a full summary of something that actually took place in history that did affect the average person and could possibly still be affecting the average person. So we'll see. I can't wait to get into this today. This is going to be a very exciting topic. But before we get into today's topic, do remember to subscribe to the channel, turn on your post notifications, and do like the video. And comment below if you guys know anything about MKUltra. I heard about MKUltra. I feel like I have since getting into YouTube and trying to understand history and geopolitics a little bit better, this has came across my desk, since lack of a better word, and it was definitely interesting to learn about, so I'm going to share with you guys today. There is a really important reason why I'm bringing this topic up to you guys today, so do watch the full video in its entirety, but without further ado, let's get into today's topic. All right, guys, so before we begin, for those who are unfamiliar, MKUltra was a CIA researched program that began in 1950. According to the declassified documents, records, researchers explored methods involving drugs such as LSD, hypnosis, sensory deprivation, and other psychological techniques, sometimes without participants' informed consent. Much of the documentation was destroyed in 1970. Interesting. Although surviving records and later congressional investigations confirm the program existed. So we're going to be listening to a clip from a portion of the hearing. This is an opening statement by Paulina Luna. And I honestly think that this is going to go down in history because it's exposing that the people who were involved were not only not held accountable, but the possibility of this still going on today. If you guys don't know, this program, after the first initial congressional hearing, was supposed to be shut down. But now there may be evidence that is surfacing that possibly it never shut down and it's still going on. So let's listen to Anna's opening statement. I think you guys will find this one particularly interesting. So without further ado, let's listen in.
Crimes committed by the Central Intelligence Agency against the American citizens and the decades of secrecy used to conceal them. The American people deserve a complete and truthful record. The victims and their families deserve acknowledgement, and this Congress has a constitutional obligation to ensure that full declassification is not delayed any longer. Project MKUltra was not a policy failure or an overzealous program that got out of hand. It was a deliberate, systematic governmental operation that subjected American citizens, prisoners, hospital patients, veterans, ordinary people to LSD, electroshock, hypnosis, sensory deprivation, psychological torture without their knowledge or consent. This went on for 20 years on American soil, funded by American taxpayer dollars and authorized by the very top of the U.S. intelligence apparatus. And this program, when it did end, the men who ran it did not cooperate with investigators. They did not come forward. They committed another crime. They destroyed evidence. The documents this task force has reviewed are unambiguous. In January 1973, the director of the CIA, Richard Helms, prepared to leave office. He personally ordered the destruction of MKUltra records. The CIA official document in writing states, "Over my stated objectives, the MKUltra files were destroyed by the order of DCI Mr. Helms shortly before his departure from office." A separate internal account confirms that Helms telephoned Dr. Gottlieb directly and instructed him to destroy, quote, "all files pertaining to drug research and associated activities." Gottlieb compiled 4 people, spent an entire day burning down 152 files. Then Gottlieb had his personal papers destroyed by his secretary before he retired. The head of the CIA-owned records center protested the destruction in writing, but he was overruled. That is obstruction of justice. That is criminal destruction of federal records, and neither individuals were ever charged with a crime for it. Helms received a $2,000 fine for lying to Congress about an unrelated matter and collected his government pension until he died. Gottlieb retired in rural Virginia and wrote poetry. No one went to prison. No victim was ever formally compensated by the government for the harm that they caused. By 1975, the Church Committee and the Rockefeller Commission had already established through sworn testimony and the surviving 1963 Inspector General report that MKUltra existed and that the CIA had run a program of human experimentation on unwitting Americans.
Let's just pause right there. Do you guys hear the current theme of lack of accountability, lack of people in government, whether if it's in Congress, whether if it's governors, whether if it's presidents, whatever the case may be? And I know people are going to say, Sharon, I know you're really new to all this conspiracy theory stuff. Well, obviously it's not a conspiracy theory for one. And they're going to be like, well, they're all connected. They're all into it. They all influence it. They all know about it. Hence the classification of it initially. I have so much to say regarding that. But you know what? I just want to take a quick pause because I think it's important that we're acknowledging the consistent lack of accountability, especially for victims that deserve justice. I'm going to give my thoughts in a second, but let's let her finish this out. And then we're going to get into another interesting clip regarding a specific cult leader that may have been involved in this as well. So it's going to get super crazy, guys. Hold on tight, but let's let her finish this opening statement.
The scope and detail of what we know today is largely because of an accident. In 1977, an archivist diligently complying with a FOIA request discovered 7 boxes of MKUltra financial records that had been misfiled and escaped the bonfire. Those 7 boxes included the names of institutions, the name of subprojects, the researchers who participated, the specific operation that the CIA had funded, and without them, the vast majority of MKUltra would only be a rumor, just as Helms and Gottlieb intended. Those 7 boxes revealed that MKUltra comprised at least 149 subprojects, operated across more than 80 institutions, and involved 185 non-government researchers. They revealed that the CIA covertly contributed $375,000 to a hospital research wing, which was approved directly by DCI Alan Dulles, which Richard Helms concurrence, so the agency could use unwitting patients as experimental subjects in what their own documents called a hospital safe house. The CIA-owned Inspector General said in 1963 his classified report concluded that the program had exceeded the agency's legal chapter, and covert testing on unwitting subjects placed the rights and interests of U.S. citizens in jeopardy. The program ran for a decade that we know of, and they ignored their own watchdog. Let me be clear what I believe that we are dealing with here. Administering drugs to people without their knowledge or consent, subjecting humans to psychological torture, and using prisoners and hospital patients as non-consenting research subjects. These are crimes against humanity. The Central Intelligence Agency committed them, and then the director of the CIA was ordering the destruction of evidence. Today, we will hear from 2 witnesses who have spent years unraveling the cover-up that our government ordered. Stephen Kinzer documented the life and crimes of Sidney Gottlieb in his book, Prisoner of Chief, and Tom O'Neill spent over 20 years investigating what the CIA buried and what they obscured that, in my mind, constitute some of the worst notorious crimes against humanity in the 20th century. Their persistence in the research in this hearing is possible simply because they are patriots. The American people deserve the complete record. The victims and their families deserve acknowledgement, accountability, and justice. And this Congress has a constitutional obligation to make sure that the CIA never does this again. With that, I'm going to be opening up first questions, and I'll hold my questions to the end.
Okay, so that was her opening statement. For those who are new to this, I know, pretty crazy. very crazy. Like, we're talking about mind control. We're talking about utilizing prisoners and drugging people and patients for the sake of obviously completing horrendous acts. I don't even know where to begin. I think her statement in general, before I get into everything else, this is a crime against humanity. Just like the Epstein files, just like the, world trafficking ring, whether if it's, sexual or not. All of those things are crime against humanity. And the fact that we have our intelligence agencies directly behind them and there's no accountability should show you that it's time to clean house. It really is, you guys. It's time to clean house, and it's time for us to stand up. And I know there's people out there be like, well, Sharon, I can't risk my job. I can't risk this. I can't risk that. I can't miss a day of work. I can't just go on YouTube and start talking. I can't just, run for Congress. I don't have any, brand recognition. I don't really know anyone. All these a million and one reasons, which some are legitimate, some are not. People have families to feed. But I think I found a solution that we all can do to apply pressure to these governments. I'll break it down into 2 steps, right? Number 1, I think it's important that you know who your congressional representatives are for your state, for your jurisdiction. I think it's important that you know who your local governments are, who your representatives are. Start at least there. Because I feel like a lot of people cannot say or even know who their representatives are, who their congressmen are. Some people can't even know who their mayor are. Some people don't even know this, their township. They probably don't even know where their township municipality building is, unless they, I don't know, need to pay a parking ticket or something like that. I don't know. With that being said, right? Knowing who your congressmen and women are and knowing their contact information, they are obligated to respond to you. Meaning, if you email them, if you contact them, if you go to the office, they are obligated because you pay taxes. They're obligated to respond to you and be of service to you. They're of service to us. With that being said, I think it's time that we just start flooding their emails. I know some people aren't, this is a digitized world. I get it. Some people are be like, I'm not protesting, I'm not going out of my house, I'm not missing my job, I'm not missing my work. At least know who your representatives are and flood their emails. If there's something that you're genuinely horrified by, if there's something that you genuinely believe should be addressed and we should be holding our representatives, our government, our congressmen and women accountable and really driving these investigations to actionable solutions, to mitigating and stopping these issues that we're facing, whether if it's with trafficking, whether if it's with continuous programs like MKUltra. Social media does one thing. Social media obviously makes the situation aware that there are concerns about these things, to the average person, to the media, to on the global stage. It's good for statistics. But what are some actionable items you can do that anyone can do? You can even send it anonymously. You don't even have to send it from your personal email. Create a new one. Figure it out, whatever the case may be. I feel like we can all, once a day, twice a day, imagine a whole community, at least 50% of a whole community, who are genuinely fed up with the Epstein files, who are genuinely fed up with MKUltra, who are genuinely fed up with the lack of accountability to these intelligence agencies that drive these horrendous programs and do these horrendous acts for whatever reason that they try to justify by or trying to cover up people who actively participated in crimes against humanity. Imagine if 50% of the community emailed on a daily basis, just hit forward and send. Just send it one time, copy it, paste it on there, send it. Let's just say your town is about 50,000. Let's just say 40%. Let's just say half of you guys, right? 100,000, 50,000 people, or 50,000, 25,000 people on a daily basis, or once a week, or once every 2 weeks, or whatever the case may be, Some people are going to be more consistent. Some people are going to be very obsessive about it. Some people are only going to remember here and there. But imagine we all collectively just flood their inbox with issues. They may block us, but there's only but so many times if we have new emails coming. I feel like that's one thing that we can do. It would take literally 1 second, 30 seconds at most of your day to forward an email constantly each and every day to get certain problems resolved. And I know it's unconventional. And I know it may not, to some people like, Sharon, that's dumb and that's a waste of time. You know how much time you waste on your phone? You know how much time you waste just in general on a daily basis, either doing nothing or scrolling against nothing, but you can actually just take 30 seconds of your day to forward something, to forward information and make and apply pressure to Congress to hold people accountable. Or whether if it's your local representative, whether if it's your mayor, your governor, your senator, your congressman, whatever the case may be, they have websites. They have websites where you can contact them. They have websites where you can send them inquiries. It'd be as easy as copy and pasting, especially, or forwarding an email each and every day or once a week. Blow up their phones, be like, hey, I'm getting to the point, like, make them go to these hearings saying, I am completely going crazy. I'm completely going crazy because I have people constantly reaching out, sending emails, flooding my inbox because they want to hold these things accountable. And it's showing that how important it is to the American people. Let's move on to the second option. Second option is a little bit more aggressive. But I think that eventually, hopefully, we grow enough to be able to do this. But I think that if you have a channel behind you, if you have people that follow you, I feel like people should be coming together. These big voices that we have that are advocating for truth, that are advocating for justice, they should collectively come together. Whether you're Candace Owens, whether if you're Patrick Bet-David, whether you're a Sean Ryan, whether you're Joe Rogan, whether you're I don't know, all these different podcasters that kind of make their voices known for humanity. They've done events before. They've done events constantly. So why can't they come collectively? I'm small and I'm growing. But this is just an idea. The same way how we have different events, whether if it's for learning, whether if it's for business. Imagine if you have an event once a year by the people, for the people, hosting these huge podcasters to bring their audience together and us really just take a stand. We don't have to march down the road. We don't have to do all this crazy stuff and cause vandalism and anything like that. No, we can have like something like with Martin Luther King did, right? He brought everyone together in Washington, said a speech that changed so many viewpoints, that changed the lives of so many people. That is a critical, I would personally say, some people would disagree with me or not, but to say that, to bring all those people together and simple words of I have a dream to be something that formed our history books, to create the world that we have today. Imagine if we had one of the world's biggest podcasters come unite. Tucker Carlson, Candace Owens, Patrick Bet-David, even, people that may not have millions and millions of subscribers, 100,000 subscribers, whether if it's, I want to say a couple other people, but, I don't know, just in general, anyone in general who are willing to come down, bring their audience together and show that, at least for these issues, when it comes to child trafficking, when it comes to MKUltra, when it comes to, exploiting the average taxpayer with these increases in taxes, with these increases in cost of living without any justifiable reason for it at all, and no improvement in infrastructure in our communities, that we can come together collectively and make a difference by standing strong like people, like our predecessors. I feel like people just have more of a backbone. They were willing to sacrifice. They were willing to come together, and I feel like that's something that we should do. And we're already over 20 minutes in this, and I wanted to show a quick portion of a expert witness regarding how Jack Ruby and Charles Manson were MKUltra assets. I'm going to play just a little bit because I'm trying to be mindful of time because, guys, I'm just really, really busy today. So let's listen in really quickly.
That Jack Ruby and Manson were assets of the intelligence agency specifically pertaining to MKUltra. Were they MKUltra victims?
Yeah, theoretically, Manson, I've never been able to prove absolutely. Jack Ruby, I believe, this is something else. The Warren Commission investigation, on the Warren Commission was Alan Dulles, the former CIA director, who authorized and ran MKUltra until he was fired by President Kennedy. The liaison to the committee for the CIA, who handled the information coming from the CIA back and forth to the Warren Commission, was Richard Helms, who was a direct supervisor of Jolly West. They knew who West was. They knew that what West was capable of and what they had paid him to do and what he had reported to them that he could do, including inducing mental disorders in people. That was never disclosed to the commission as far as anyone knows. So I believe that West was put in there to keep Jack Ruby from telling his story.
Okay, we're going to pause right there. One thing I just want to point out that I appreciate Mr. O'Neill from coming forward and sharing his testimony regarding this matter. But haven't you realized, look at the people right now that are sitting there in this congressional hearing. They're all older, from what you can see in this video. That should tell you, that should say something. But not harping on that irrelevant topic too much. For those who may not know, Jack Ruby was a Dallas nightclub owner who fatally shot Lee Harvey Oswald, the accused assassin of President John F. Kennedy, on November 1963. And then Charles Manson, for those who may not know, was a notorious cult leader who directed his followers, known as a Manson family, to commit series of brutal, high-profile murders in Los Angeles in 1969. So obviously, you know, he's testifying that these people were victims of, assets of MKUltra. And, you know, we can deep dive into the particulars that he's saying, but again, I really just don't have the time. But what I'm trying to convey with bringing this topic forward, one, a lot of people are clicking this because they see like MKUltra. A lot of people do know about, you know, the declassification of these files, what's in these files, the overall general gist of it. Some people don't, and I'm happy to inform you guys that may not. But what I'm trying to get you guys to realize is that as an average person, there is something you can do about this. Yes, make yourself aware. Yes, be very intentional about the information that you digest. But stand up for something. Stand up for something, because at the end of the day, there's only but so long that we can allow these things to go unchecked before there's a point of no return. And I'm getting really fearful that we're getting to that point. And I'm not those people that are saying like, oh, America's going down, the globalists are taking over, all this other stuff. No, I'm really relatively still new in YouTube. I'm relatively still new in geopolitics. I'm starting to get to know and build relationships with my local congressmen, with my local mayors, with my township, with my community. I'm just starting. So I'm no better than anyone else. But I am advocating because now that I do understand what's going on, there is something that can be done, even if it's at a minimal level. You'd be surprised how small, consistent action, especially from a group of numerous amount of people, can change the world. That small action that Martin Luther King did by just showing up on a day and organizing people to come to Washington and just speak changed our history. Whether people want to acknowledge that or not, everyone knows about the I Have a Dream speech. Whether you agree with his tactics, whether you thought he was a pushover, whether you thought he wasn't strategic, whether you thought he was an asset for the government himself. Let's isolate the actual initial action, that it impacted thousands of people across the country. White, Black, Asian, Spanish, and different. To believe that there could be a better future than what they were living today. And that's what I want to empower you guys today to do. I know it's different. It's going to be so hard to bring millions and thousands of people together just to stand for something. But at least And I know I'm not the person to do it. I don't have the following for it. I don't have the network for it. But if there is someone out there that may listen to this, whether now or in the future, or whether I grow in the future, I think that should be the goal. And I think that it shouldn't take someone like me to grow and build to make something like that happen. I would encourage creators that are big now, that have an audience now, that already speak on these issues now, that advocate for justice, to take a stand, to collaborate collectively, hold an event for all people, not just for the right, not just for the left, not just for the middle, not just for independents, because these issues don't affect just one selective group of political party. It affects us all. So we should be all coming together. If you believe in the safety of children, if you believe in the future of our country, if you want to do better, if you want to stop our intelligence agencies and our governments from allowing programs and allowing things that ultimately are crimes against humanity, do your part. And we all have a small part to play. Some roles are bigger than others. Some people are maybe not willing to risk their well-being or their family or whatever the case may be, or may have fear. Don't let fear drive you. This could be something that can change the course of the future forever. And I'd highly encourage people to get off your high horse, put your differences aside, because there are common issues that we all can collectively come to together, whether if it's genocide, whether if it's human trafficking, whether if it's programs like MKUltra, or whether if it's just general economical issues that we're all being impacted by. We can come together and make a difference, but it all starts with just at least one person bringing up the idea, and I'm hoping that this is it. I'm not saying I'm going to bring everyone together. Listen, it would be nice. Maybe I work on it in the back end. Maybe. I need to build myself up too to be relevant enough to even make this happen, and that's just me being honest and transparent. But maybe a miracle could happen. But we'll see. But I highly encourage you guys, at the very least, get to know your congressmen and women. At the very least, know when the election cycles are, know at least a little bit of the people who are going to be, quote unquote, taking over these responsibilities, and vote accordingly to what's important to you. I highly encourage that. So that's all I have for you guys today. I didn't want to do a super long video because I genuinely don't have the time, but I wanted to come to you guys with something that was a little bit different, something that is obviously trending in the news right now, and something that is critically important, because if these programs are still going on now and we're being lied to, then obviously there's a deeper, darker, greater truth that we need to uncover before it's too late. And when I say it's too late, I mean to the point of no return. And what that point of no return may look like, I don't even want to imagine. But that's all I have for today, you guys. As you guys know, we drop content every Sunday, Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. If there's something particularly that you guys want me to look into, whether if it's a point in history, whether if it's a current event, or whether if it's just something in general that interests you, do comment below. I'm interested to know. I'm also interested to know where you guys stand in general when it comes to the greater issues like the Epstein files, like MKUltra programs, or things that are reflective of crimes against humanity. Where do you stand, and would you even come and participate? When I say participate, meaning just attend. If these big podcasters came together, drop a comment below. I would love to know, because maybe if there's enough comments below, maybe this may spark the interest of other creators to come together and really, really make a difference, other than us just week over week, day over day, commenting on podcasts. I would love to see real change, and I would be the first to do my best to support in any way I can. And you can support by commenting below. So do comment below. I'm interested to know. But that's all I have for today, you guys. Do remember to subscribe to the channel, turn on your post notifications, and do like the video, especially if you got a lot of value out of this, or if you agree. Maybe if you don't agree, comment below. I would love to know your general thoughts and opinions, or if there's something that I'm missing, comment below. I would love to talk to you guys and connect with you guys, but I'll see you guys in my next video. So bye.